Ever get that feeling, when you're watching the market and it's moving? You're ready to make your move. You're right there, your fingers on the button to execute that futures trade. And then there's this like almost imperceptible delay.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like your computer's taking a little too long to think about it.
Yeah.
And maybe you even miss out on like a really good trade because of it.
Yeah. And you're left there just like, oh, what just happened?
Exactly. Especially if you're trading CME futures, like those really fast moving contracts, the ES and the NQ, that feeling, it can be way too
Oh,
familiar.
absolutely.
So today we're going to dive deep into this and really figure out how you can get a real technological edge.
We're going to break it down.
Yeah.
We've got some really good stuff today.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Some really great insights for you. Coming from an interview that we did with Ryan, the co-founder and CEO of QuantVPS.
Okay.
Now, QuantVPS, these aren't your average VPS guys.
Right.
These guys are laser focused on this.
Gotcha.
They're totally dedicated to providing virtual private servers.
Yeah.
Tailored specifically for futures traders.
Okay. So they know this world inside and out.
That's right.
That's great.
So we went straight to the source to find out what it takes to get that speed.
Awesome.
That speed you need
Yeah.
to compete. The kind that promises response times in the sub-millisecond range.
Yeah.
Which is...
That's fast.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah. That's hard to even comprehend.
It is.
Okay. So think of this as your like fast track.
Shortcut.
Yeah. Your shortcut to understanding VPS,
What really matters.
what really matters when it comes to trading futures.
Exactly.
We're going to unpack QuantVPS, like
Kinda.
what makes them work, why it matters to you.
You're going right to the core.
Right to the core, yeah.
Why is it a big deal?
Yeah, whether you're trading, CME futures like the E-mini S&P 500 or the NASDAQ Q100 E-mini, or even if you're just considering it.
Right. If you're thinking about dipping your toes in,
Exactly. We want to make sure you're set up for success.
we want you to be ready.
Okay, so let's talk about Ryan a little bit.
Let's do it.
His background sounds like it's kind of in that sweet spot between technology and finance.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah, his whole career is developed like right in that crossover point,
Okay.
with a really strong focus on the kind of the ins and outs of futures trading on those CME group exchanges.
Gotcha.
His background's in software engineering and system architecture.
Okay.
They gave him a really unique view, a really unique vantage point
Right.
to see what was really going on with, traders on the CME.
Yeah, the challenges they were facing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what were some of the like recurring issues that you saw coming up for these traders?
Well, the main problems he saw
Yeah.
were really noticeable with traders who were using automated strategies,
Right.
especially those who were trading like the ES and the NQ contracts, really liquid, fast moving.
Like 5 volume ones.
Yeah, those big ones.
Mhm.
And what they kept saying consistently was that the typical VPS solutions, the off-the-shelf stuff,
Right. The generic ones.
yeah, the stuff anyone could get just wasn't cutting it.
It wasn't designed for this.
It wasn't enough.
Okay.
Like it didn't have that ultra low latency.
Right.
And more importantly, they weren't physically close enough to the CME servers,
Okay.
which is critical.
Gotcha.
You need to be right there where the action's happening.
Right. So it wasn't just a little thing.
Right.
It was actually holding them back.
It was costing them money.
Yeah, from getting the best results.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this frustration, this was a real problem.
Oh, this was a constant pain point.
Okay.
And that's what led to QuantVPS. Like Ryan saw this need, and that's what sparked the whole thing,
It was filling a gap.
filling a huge gap in the market.
Yeah.
Something that was specifically engineered to solve these problems.
Built for purpose.
Exactly.
So what is it about QuantVPS that sets it apart from all the other VPS providers out there? What makes it the go-to choice specifically for futures traders who are focused on the CME?
Well, what's really interesting is how specialized they are.
Okay.
They're not trying to be everything to everyone. They're not trying to be like the general VPS provider. They're very, very focused on futures traders,
Right.
particularly those who are really into the CME markets.
Gotcha.
So everything they do is built around those specific needs, especially for trading ES and NQ futures.
So they've really honed in on those specific needs and they've optimized for that.
Exactly, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they've always got that sub-millisecond latency to the CME servers as like their top priority.
They're all about speed.
Oh yeah, it's got to be fast.
Okay. So it's not just about raw speed though, right? They also like pre-optimize their servers for all the popular platforms.
Those make it deal.
Yeah. It seems like a really smart move.
It is, because they're catering to what traders are actually using day in, day out.
Right.
So we're talking about platforms like NinjaTrader, which is super popular for both, like, people who are trading manually and people who have algorithms.
Yeah.
And then TradeStation,
Yep.
which is a big favorite for people who are really into their charting and back testing.
Okay.
You got QuantVPS, you got Tradivate, even interactive brokers.
Wow. So they're covering all the bases.
They're covering the major players.
Okay.
And what this means is their servers are already set up to squeeze the best possible performance out of these tools.
You don't have to start from scratch.
You don't have to mess around with settings.
It's ready to go.
You're ready to trade.
Awesome.
And their support team.
Yeah.
They're not just like some general IT guys. They're not reading off a script.
Yeah.
They get it.
Right.
They know CME trading. They know the data feeds. They know the challenges. It's all very specific.
So they can troubleshoot specific problems.
Yeah, they speak your language.
That's great.
It's like having a pit crew that knows your car inside and out.
Okay. So we keep talking about this low latency.
Ultra low latency.
Yeah, ultra low latency, it sounds super important. But for people who aren't as familiar, can you really break down why it matters so much for CME futures traders?
Sure. So if you think about trading, especially with all these automated strategies that are getting more and more advanced.
Right. Yeah.
On contracts like the ES and the NQ,
Mm-hmm.
ultra low latency isn't just like a nice to have. It's kind of like essential these days.
It's the baseline.
Yeah, it's like your foundation.
Okay.
Because when you've got algorithms that are designed to react to tiny changes in the market, fractions of a second, even a delay of a few milliseconds can have a huge impact.
Wow. So it's all about those tiny fractions of time.
That's the game.
Okay.
I mean, think about high frequency ES trading.
Yeah.
1 millisecond could be the difference between getting your order filled at the best price or getting slippage,
Oh,
which means you end up paying more than you wanted to.
right. So that millisecond can actually cost you money.
Over many trades, those little differences add up. Big time.
They compound.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it could also mean, your algorithm completely misses out on a trade
Because it wasn't fast enough.
because it wasn't fast enough to get in,
Okay.
especially when the market's going crazy, like during a big economic announcement or when an index rebalances.
Super volatile moments.
Those are the make or break moments.
All right. Yeah.
So yeah, those tiny delays, they might seem small.
Yeah.
But they can really eat into your profits over time.
So how does QuantVPS actually get that 0.1 millisecond latency? What's the secret? What's the magic?
Well, the key is their infrastructure.
Okay.
They use those AMD EPYC processors. They're really good for handling the super fast calculations that you need for automated trading.
Right. Built for speed.
And they combine those with really fast DDR4 RAM. So accessing data is lightning fast.
I gotcha.
But the real game changer is their network setup.
Okay.
They have this thing called direct network, peering with the CME in Chicago.
Okay.
Imagine it like a dedicated highway just for your orders,
Okay.
directly to the exchange.
No traffic, no detours.
No messing around, it goes straight there.
Wow.
This basically cuts out all those unnecessary stops along the way. So your orders get there instantly.
Okay. So minimizing those hops, right?
Exactly. It's like taking the express lane straight to the exchange.
So we keep talking about Chicago.
Yeah, it's like the futures capital of the world.
It seems like location really matters, especially for CME futures trading, right?
That's absolutely crucial.
Okay. So break it down for us. Why is Chicago so important?
Okay, so the CME's main data centers, where all the servers that match trades for contracts, like the ES and the NQR, they're all based in Chicago.
Okay.
So if your VPS is also in Chicago, in a data center really close by,
Right.
it's like you're right next door.
Your neighbors.
You're practically neighbors, yeah.
Okay.
Your orders can get to the exchange super fast.
It's all about minimizing that distance.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So it's not enough to just have great hardware.
Yeah.
You need to be in the right place, digitally speaking.
Like having a front row seat.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Okay. And QuantVPS has their infrastructure right in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. They're right in the heart of it in these top-notch data centers.
So they're minimizing that physical distance.
That's their edge.
Okay. And that's crucial for those ES and NQ traders.
If you want to squeeze every millisecond out of your trading.
Okay. But what about when things get really crazy in the market?
Oh, yeah. Those wild days.
Yeah. Like in a major news.
FOMC announcements, the economic data drops, market opens, all that.
How does QuantVPS make sure that the connections are stable and that nothing goes offline?
So reliability and uptime are critical during those times.
Absolutely. Mission critical.
Yeah, because when things are volatile, that's when the big moves happen.
Right.
And if your connection drops, even for a few seconds,
Yeah.
especially if you're running automated strategies,
Right. Yeah.
it can be disastrous.
Absolutely. It can ruin a trade.
Totally run a trade, yeah, especially for ES and NQ.
Great.
Big losses.
Yeah. That sounds like a nightmare.
It's every trader's worst nightmare.
Okay. So what's their solution?
So QuantVPS guarantees 99.9% uptime,
Okay.
which is huge.
It's basically always on.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
And they do this through like really tough redundant systems.
Okay. Like what?
So they've got backup generators for power. So even if the grid goes down,
They're still running.
they're still up and running.
Okay.
They've got multiple network paths.
Okay.
So if one goes down, another one kicks in.
So it's like a backup internet connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they monitor everything 24/7.
Okay.
They've got systems that automatically switch over if anything fails.
So there's like a whole system in place to prevent any downtime.
They've got it covered.
It's like a safety net for your trading.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So it's not just about being fast. It's about being fast all the time.
That's the key. Consistency.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about the platforms they support.
Yeah, we touched on those a bit.
It sounds like they really know what futures traders are actually using.
Oh, yeah, they've really done their homework.
Okay. So which platforms are we talking about here specifically?
So we're talking NinjaTrader, of course, which we mentioned earlier.
Popular one.
Super popular, yeah. And then you've got TradeStation.
Mm-hmm.
Really popular for its charting and backtesting capabilities.
Okay.
Quantower, Tradivate,
Yep.
and Interactive Brokers. They really support all the big names.
So they're not just saying, oh, yeah, we support them. They're actually optimizing for them.
They go way beyond just compatibility.
Okay.
They pre-install the platforms with settings that are already optimized for futures trading.
That's awesome.
So it's like, imagine you log in
Yeah.
and you've got your multi-chart layouts
Yeah.
already set up for the ES and the NQ, or your environment's ready for backtesting right away.
Wow. So you don't have to spend hours configuring
You
everything.
could take care of all the tedious stuff.
That's great. Yeah.
So you can focus on what matters, which is trading.
Right. So it's like they do all the background setup.
The grunt work.
Yeah. So you can just focus on the actual trading strategy.
Exactly.
And they also help with like setting up data feeds from the CME.
Yeah, that can be a real pain.
Yeah.
Can get very technical,
Yeah.
but they've got people who can guide you through it.
Okay.
They also help with like fine-tuning how you're using your server resources.
Okay. What does that mean exactly?
So like CPU, RAM,
Yeah.
making sure you've got enough power, run everything smoothly.
Right. So your VPS isn't slowing you down.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Doesn't matter if you're scalping the NQ with tons of orders or if you're doing longer term trades on the ES.
Right. It needs to be able to handle it.
Yeah, it's got to be able to keep up.
Okay. So they mentioned that they also work with Forex traders.
They do, yeah.
Is it the same approach?
It is in some ways,
Hmm.
but their real focus is on CME futures.
Okay.
That's where their strengths lie.
Gotcha.
But they offer some good things for both groups, like really fast SSD storage.
Okay.
So accessing your data is really quick. And dedicated IP addresses, which can be important for security with your broker.
Okay.
And they have automatic backup so you don't lose your data.
That's important.
Super important.
Yeah.
But for futures traders, especially those who are trading on the CME,
Yeah.
it all comes back to that infrastructure in Chicago. That's what sets them apart.
Right. That physical proximity.
That's the key.
Okay. And they have different plans, right?
They do, yeah.
So you can scale up or down.
So if you're just running a single instance of NinjaTrader,
Right.
they've got a plan for that. But if you're running multiple platforms,
Yeah.
like TradeStation and Quantower at the same time,
Right.
they can handle that too.
So they're flexible.
Very flexible.
Okay. So let's be real for a second.
Sure.
What are some of the like headaches, the things that can go wrong with VPS setups?
Oh, there are definitely some common ones.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, even with the best providers, things happen.
So what are some of those things?
Well, one big one is latency spikes.
Yeah.
When the connection suddenly slows down
Right.
and it makes your execution really inconsistent.
Yeah. It can be frustrating.
Oh, yeah, it's super frustrating.
Right.
And then there's downtime, even if it's just for a few minutes.
Right.
That could be a big problem, especially if you're relying on automated strategies.
Absolutely. Because you're missing out on those trading opportunities.
Exactly. And especially for ES and NQ, those moves can happen really fast.
Right. Every second counts.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And another thing that could be tough is managing multiple data feeds,
Right.
especially for complex automated systems. It can be a lot to handle.
Yeah. It can get overwhelming.
It's not for the faint of heart.
So how does QuantVPS tackle these issues?
Well, But their whole service is designed to prevent these things from happening in the first place.
Okay, so they're being proactive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
They're obsessed with maintaining that sub-millisecond latency to the CME.
Okay.
Their uptime guarantee is all about minimizing downtime.
Yeah.
And they try to make setup as easy as possible.
Plug and play.
Almost plug and play, yeah.
Okay.
So you pick your platform, and they've already done most of the hard work to get it running perfectly.
Oh, feels great. Yeah.
They basically handle all the complicated stuff behind the scenes.
Okay.
So you can focus on your trading strategies and analyzing the markets.
Right. So they're taking care of all the technical details.
Exactly.
Awesome.
They're like the tech team behind your trading operation.
Okay, so let's talk about security for a minute.
Yeah, that's crucial.
Super important, especially when you're dealing with, sensitive trading data.
Yeah. And especially with automated strategies, which can be like intellectual property.
Absolutely. So how does QuantVPS keep its users' data secure?
They've got a really comprehensive security system.
Okay.
Multi-layered, so it's not just one thing.
Okay, yeah.
They use enterprise-grade firewalls, which are basically like really tough barriers against unauthorized access. They've got DDoS mitigation techniques to protect against those attacks that try to overwhelm the network.
Right, to keep the servers running.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And all the connections are encrypted.
Okay.
So your data is protected when it's being sent back and forth.
So even if someone intercepts it, they can't read it.
It's just gibberish to them.
Okay.
And each VPS environment is isolated.
Okay.
So your resources and your data are separate from everyone else.
Like a walled garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
They also do regular security audits.
Okay.
So they're always checking for vulnerabilities and making sure everything is up to date.
So they're constantly updating their security.
They're always on top of it.
Awesome.
And they have automatic backups.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Super important.
In case you need to restore your settings.
Yeah. Like if something goes wrong with your TradeStation or NinjaTrader setup.
Right. It's like a safety net.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's a lot of security.
They take it seriously.
It sounds like they do. Okay. So let's shift gears a little bit.
But about AI.
The future.
Yeah. How does QuantVPS see AI impacting futures trading, especially for the CME markets?
They think AI is going to be huge.
A game changer.
A total game changer. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially for contracts like the ES and the NQ.
Right.
They see it as a way to develop even more sophisticated automated strategies
Okay.
that can adapt to changing market conditions.
Wow. Okay.
And they see it being used for better risk management,
Right.
like real-time risk analysis, things like that.
So it's not just about speed anymore.
No, it's about intelligence.
Yeah.
It's about having algorithms that can think for themselves, basically.
Right.
And QuantVPS wants to be a part of this.
Okay.
They say their servers are already powerful enough to run these AI-powered trading bots.
Gotcha.
And they're even exploring ways to incorporate AI tools into their own offerings.
Interesting.
So they could offer things like strategy optimization and risk management tools that are powered by AI.
Wow. So they're really looking ahead.
They're on the cutting edge. Okay, that's exciting. So for someone who's either already using a VPS or is thinking about getting one for their CME futures trading,
Yeah.
what advice would Ryan give them, to get the most out of their setup?
Okay. So he's got some really practical tips,
Okay, yeah.
especially for those who are focused on ES and NQ and are using automated strategies.
Oh, okay.
First and foremost, location.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chicago. You got to be in Chicago if you want the lowest latency to the CME.
Non-negotiable.
It's the golden rule.
Okay.
And make sure you've got enough power on your server.
CPU and RAM.
Yeah, especially if you're running multiple algorithms on platforms like TradeStation or NinjaTrader.
Right. You don't want your VPS to be the bottleneck.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And then he said, don't just assume you have low latency. Test it. Ping your broker's servers. Make sure you're actually getting that 0.1 millisecond range.
Verify it. Yeah.
Don't take it for granted.
Okay.
And use the support that QuantVPS offers.
Right.
They're there to help you configure your platforms to make sure everything is running perfectly.
So they can help with QuantTower, Trativate.
All of them, yeah.
Okay.
And lastly, keep an eye on your resource usage,
Okay.
especially when the market is volatile.
Right. When things are busy.
Make sure your server can handle it.
It's like checking the engine while you're driving.
Exactly, yeah.
So to build a service like this,
Yeah.
it's, so demanding, so focused on performance and reliability.
And easy.
It's got to be tough. So what were some of the big challenges that QuantVPS faced as they grew?
Well, the biggest challenges were all related to scale.
Okay.
I mean, they had to figure out how to deliver that sub-millisecond latency to the CME
Right.
consistently to tons of traders.
Yeah. Not just one or two.
Exactly. And they had to handle those massive data feeds.
Right, for those high volume
Yeah,
contracts?
like the ES and the NQ.
Okay.
And they had to support all these different platforms.
Right, with all their quirks.
Like Interactive Brokers and Quantower, they're all different.
It's a lot to juggle.
It's a huge undertaking.
So how did they actually overcome these challenges?
Well, they did a few things.
Okay.
First, they partnered with the best data centers in Chicago,
Okay.
the ones with the best infrastructure and network connections.
So it starts with the physical location.
It all starts there, yeah.
Okay.
And then they spent a lot of time optimizing their own systems,
Okay.
their network architecture, making sure everything was running as efficiently as possible.
Right, so it's not just about the hardware, it's about the software too.
Exactly. It's the whole package.
Okay.
But I think the most important thing they did was build the right team.
Okay.
They found people who understood both the tech side of VPS hosting
Right.
and the specific needs of futures traders.
So they're bridging that gap.
Exactly. They're speaking both languages.
Okay, so to wrap things up.
Yep.
What would you say is the core mission of QuantVPS? What's the message Ryan wants to get across?
I think his message is that he wants to give CME futures traders every advantage they can get, especially those who are relying on automated strategies
Well,
for
yeah.
the ES and the NQ.
Those high-speed contracts.
Yeah, those are the ones where every millisecond counts.
Absolutely.
And he wants to give them VPS solutions that are fast and reliable.
So they can focus on trading.
Exactly. He wants to remove any tech barriers that might hold them back.
So the takeaway for our listeners is that if you're serious about CME futures
Yeah.
and speed and reliability are super important to you.
Especially if you're using automated strategies
Right.
on those key contracts like the E-mini S&P 500 and the NASDAQ Q100 E-mini.
You need a specialized VPS solution
Right.
like what QuantVPS offers.
They've got all the pieces in place.
Yeah, the low latency, the reliability, the support.
It's all designed for the serious trader.
Okay, so all the things we talked about today, the location in Chicago,
Yeah.
the hardware, the platform support,
It's a complete package.
it shows that they're really focused on this niche.
They know their audience.
And it makes you think, in these markets where everything happens so fast,
Yeah.
how much are a few milliseconds actually costing you?
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's something to consider.
It is. And beyond just your trading strategy,
Yeah.
think about the tech you're using.
Yeah,
It plays a huge role in your success.
absolutely. It's the foundation.
Yeah, it's like the engine of your trading operation.
It's something every trader should be thinking about.
It's an investment in your future.
I agree.
If you want to stay ahead of the curve, you
Exactly.
got to have the right tech.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's our deep dive for today.
Thanks for joining us,
It's been a pleasure.
and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.